What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the HPJP show.
Damn right.
I'm one of your hosts, Josh.
And I'm JP.
And this is the podcast where JP and I shoot the shit, talk about random topics out of discussion for your amusement, and it goes live every other Saturday at noon Eastern on youtube.com/HexxedPhenom. I totally screwed that up.
Yes.
youtube.com/HexxedPhenom. And on podcast services around the globe, things like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play, among others. And today, we decided that we were going to do kind of the opposite of our topic from last week.
Yeah, we're going to kind of try, I guess, intertwine it somehow, just on the opposite side of the spectrum.
So now, this week, we're going to talk about horrible experiences we've had with the customer at our jobs. Now, we're not going to be saying where we work, obviously.
Yeah, we're not going to be saying any specific names or places or anything like that, but yeah.
We're just going to be talking about stories of rowdy customers or troublesome customers or whatever.
I got a whole lot of those.
I do too.
Oh, shit.
So,
let's get into this.
Where do you want to start, JP?
You know what? Okay, here. So I guess we'll just go and flow, and then we'll just take it from there. So I guess what?
I have 5.
You have 5? Okay, so I have 10. Well, mine could easily be broken into just easy things. Nothing long-term stories. There's a few long stories here, but, yeah, just to get into it, yeah, first, there's the, can I get a discount guy? Now, this guy isn't a pain in my ass whatsoever. It's just kind of funny how we made another situation when he was shopping with a customer into a running joke. So, long story short, I was working in shoes, and yeah, this guy was behind this woman that came to the counter, and this woman, like, people want everything for free anymore. Yeah. I mean, they want it for nothing, which is the dumbest concept. So, this girl's shopping, I bring the shoes out, it's the last in her size, and God forbid the box is fucking crushed. So the box is fucking crushed. Not the merchandise, the box. And she's like, can I get a discount? And I'm like, no, you can't get a discount because the product is perfectly fine. The cardboard box, that's just shipment. I'm not marking this down. So this happened. The guy behind her's like, He's like literally, it was so hard not to laugh with this guy making an ass out of this person, like right in front of me, and she had no idea, and everybody else was laughing too. I'm like, fuck, this is so hard not to laugh. So the funny part is, from this experience, every time this guy comes in the store, he always bullshits with me with this running joke of, can I get a discount? So the most recent one, well, the last 2 times I saw him, so he was up looking at a coat, and he saw me, and he's like, hey, how's it going, man? He's like, I'm just looking for some way to get an extra discount. And he's looking at the fucking tags for these jackets, and he rips it slightly. He's like, I can get a discount. And like, literally, he goes full-on bargain hunter mode to make fun of this woman. And the last one was so funny because he brought his mother to the store. So his mom's the one mainly shopping, and then he sees me. So she has this like 3 set of microfiber bath mats for her bathroom, and like it's bonded together with cardboard. And it has a nice little plastic hanger in it. And literally, like, we're just talking, and he's like, oh, that reminds me. Excuse me, mother. And he literally gets the edge of it, and he rips it right across. He's like, I can get a discount now, can't I?
At least there was something good to come out of that story, though. Like, at least now you have that guy to joke around with. None of my stories have any good outcomes like that.
I have a lot of, well, there's a few good outcomes, or they're mainly all just really shitty and just funny retail stories. So it was just funny how he brought his mother into this, and then she's like, wait, what? And he's like, well, there was this one idiot that was in shoes the one day, mother, when I was shopping, and she wanted to get a discount because the fucking box was crushed. And she's like, well, why the hell would she want that? And he's like, I have no idea. That's why she's stupid. Like, this guy just rips people apart. And he used to work in retail too, so I guess that's why this became an ongoing story. And Yeah, so that is the first story of my 10, and they take twists and turns. They're funny, but then they're kind of creepy, but they can be shitty. But then there's some funny ones that are really good. So I'm curious about how this goes.
All right, so my first story is... Now, this one will take a little bit to explain. This is Farmer's Tea Guy. And JP already knows this story. But, so for a little bit of backstory, 1, I work in a grocery store. 2,
oh god,
if you're not, I don't even know really how far Farmers goes in terms of like reach.
Okay,
but
it doesn't go too far out of the NEPA region. So like for you people that don't know what Farmers is local brewed iced tea, and it's really really damn good. Like Gears is another one.
It's really good, but people around here drink it like water. Like people buy it by the gallons.
It is sacred. Sacred
it is
shit.
it is like the nectar of the gods around here.
Yo, and it gives you kidney stones too.
Yes, it does give you kidney stones. But so people buy it like by the gallons, okay? And so it's Christmas Eve 2017.
What a great time to set it up.
So people are buying this stuff like it's nothing because they need it for all their relatives are going to come and they're going to drink all of it, and that's that. So they need a bunch of it. And I think, if I remember correctly, it was also on sale. Like, I think the gallons were like 3 for $5, which is pretty good.
Which, when that deal happens, you better be ready, because they're coming. They're coming for it.
And so we ran out of every single variation of Farmer's Tea that we had. Pints, half gallons, gallons, of both diet and regular.
Oh my god, you ran out of diet? I cannot believe that you ran out of diet anything. Jesus, wow. That's crazy.
We were out of everything.
That's a problem.
And so this guy comes by, and he's not happy about it. And now, I'm still not 100% sure if there was something wrong with him from a mental standpoint. So I'm not 100% sure if he was just mad or if, he was mentally handicapped in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But he walks up to me, and I'm stalking the butter, and he goes, it's basically like something right out of the Tourette's guy. He's like, where are the assholes that built this place put the farmers? And I'm like...
It's so sad. I can see it happening, too.
I'm like, oh, well, normally it's down aisle 20 all the way at the end. And he's like, yeah, I looked there is none. And I'm like...
Oh, shit.
I was like, oh, yeah, like, we ran out. And he's like, well, when are you getting more in? And I was like, not until Tuesday or whatever it was. Whatever the next day we were getting it in, I was like, not till Tuesday. And he's like, oh, what the hell at this place? And he walks off, and I go back to stocking the butter, and I didn't take notice. But apparently, he goes in the back room, where customers are not allowed, obviously. So he goes in the back room.
Right in the back room, yep.
And I didn't notice. So I finished stocking the butter, I go back there, and I see him in the dairy cooler looking for Farmer's Tea. He's like, I know you're hiding this Farmer's Tea from me. And I'm like...
At that point, you just knew he was out of his fucking mind.
I'm like, I'm really not, but, And he's like, where the hell is it? And I'm like, well, normally it's right there where you're standing, that big empty spot where you're standing. He's like, where are you hiding it? And I'm like...
You're hiding your pants, I know it.
And I'm like, okay. So I just close this dude in the cooler, and I'm standing in front of the door, and I call manager and security to the dairy cooler, and they come back, and they're like, what's the problem? And I just, without even saying anything, I just open the door of the cooler, and I'm like, well, would you look at that?
And he's just sitting there, wow, where's
the farmers?
And they're probably just like, oh, god damn it.
And so security has to drag this guy out.
Fucking yay, man.
And kick him out. And then I remember he came back like 2 hours later. And then as soon as I saw him...
Like, he fucking comes back. It's like...
As soon as I saw him from like... I was at the top of the aisle and he was at the bottom, still not believing that there wasn't any farmers. And as soon as I see him, I just go right to the back and I page security to the dairy department again.
You just went right to you're like, fuck it, I'm doing this. And
so now he's banned from like all stores of our chain or whatever.
He's banned from every single store.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I wish you guys, man, I wish I would go and ban people. I mean, we don't do that.
There's like a picture of him up in the manager's office.
Oh my god, yeah, I wish we did
like
that
where
I'm at. Yeah, there'd be a bunch of people that are on this list that would be banned.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
but farmer's tea guy. That's him.
So this one's gonna be shorter than the last one, and this one is the toilet paper guy. Yep, there's a lot of third-person naming here, and we won't name any actual people or where we work. So that's just for many reasons, but yeah. So day's going nice and good, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go take a piss right now, right? So. So you think that's a pretty easy thing to accomplish. Apparently, it was not. I ran into some issues, and not from my end either. So I go in, I'm taking a piss, and while I'm taking a piss, this guy hobbles out of the far. Have you been in the store? Have you seen the bathrooms? All right, so the downstairs bathroom.
Yeah.
The courtesy desk. Okay, so I'm at the farthest urinal, and I hear the stall door open, but it's like whatever. I don't give a shit. Some guy's just doing his business. Sitting there, got my just back completely turned, and this guy literally starts hobbling. I just hear hobbling noises. I'm like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden I hear him go, he's like, hey. And I didn't even respond. I was like, fuck that. So,
Fuck that.
So then he's just like, he's like, hey you kid. I'm like, yeah. And as he's hobbling closer, he's like, I just want to let you know that you need more toilet paper in the second back stall.
I don't know why, but just the way you're describing it, I for some reason just envision him getting really close. Hey, kid.
He literally came right up to the edge of the other urinal stall, and he was literally hobbling over, looking at me dead in the eye. And I'm like, yeah.
I don't know why. I just envision him whispering in your ear,
yeah,
hey,
yeah. He's like, hey, we need more toilet paper in the second back stall. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, that's not my fucking job. So I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm just sitting here doing my business. I'm going. So I'm just like, well, sir, the clean lady's right outside the door. Why don't you go tell her? She's like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good idea. I'll go tell the clean lady.
So
I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah.
So did he hobble out because he couldn't wipe his ass or what?
No, he was just fucking hobbling, man. I don't know. He smelled pretty weird too. So I was like, I don't even know.
I thought the story was that he was in there, took a shit, and there was no toilet paper, and so he had to hobble out.
He used the last of it apparently, and then he literally hobbles his way out, but he still smelled horrible. So I don't know what the fuck he did. But
maybe he probably didn't finish wiping.
Maybe he didn't finish wiping. I don't even know. And yeah, he was. While I'm taking a piss, he was telling me about this bathroom problem, and I'm like, sir, I'm on the floor. I don't go to the back and get all that stuff. So eventually he finds the clean lady. He's like, you need some toilet paper. And where's that, sir? Any in the back stall. And he just literally hobbles out. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? And as soon as we were talking about this list, I'm like, toilet paper guy, going on this list because that was fucking weird. A weird bathroom experience.
Speaking of this list, I just kind of realized that I don't have any things on here from my previous job, which there was quite a few things that probably could fit on here somewhere.
I mean, hey, we might have time. I mean, I'm already 2 in and we're at 13 minutes, so if you got a story.
My number 2, this one's not that long. This is Cup Noodles guy. And so, this isn't that bad.
This just sounds like, wow.
But just the experience... Or just the end of the conversation is just the funniest thing to me. So this guy, I work strictly in the dairy department in the grocery store that I work at. So this guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, there's these cup noodles on sale, whatever. He's like, he's like, there's no more of these certain flavors on the shelf. Do you know where I could find more? And I was like, well, all the ones that we had should have been out there. But I was like, but there's a big, we have these big wooden crates that we'll just if stuff's on sale, we'll just throw a bunch of them in and place them by the front door with with the sale sign on it or whatever. And I was like, there's a bunch of them up there. I don't know if the flavor you want's in there, but there's a bunch of them up by the front door. And he's like, hey, thanks. And then he starts talking to me about all of his favorite cup noodle flavors, and I'm like, I don't mean to, I didn't say this to him, but I was just thinking I don't mean to be rude, but I kind of have to, do my job.
It happens all the time.
And so he's like,
wow,
yeah, I'm really looking for the the creamy chicken and the cheddar cheese ones, and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy.
So was he just telling you like his whole fucking life story, and you're just sitting there like...
Not his whole life story. He was just like, yeah, I really want the cheddar cheese and the creamy chicken, because I don't like the regular chicken or the shrimp. They're garbage, and I'm like, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
And he just keeps going, and I'm like,
you're just
he's like, what's your favorite cup noodle flavors? I was like, here's a funny story. I was like, I don't like soup at all. And he got so offended by this. He was like, you don't like soup?
Yep.
He's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like,
he got triggered.
I don't like soup. And he's like, he just like couldn't fathom it. He's like shaking his head, and he's like, oh, and he just walks away. And I'm like, sorry.
I love the customers that just tell you their entire life story, and you're just sitting there trying not to lose your mind because you got stuff to do, and you're trying to be nice, but you don't want to be a dick, and you're just like, listen, I gotta go do this right now.
And like, I didn't just say I don't like soup to get him to go away. I genuinely don't like soup of any kind. So I was just being honest with him. And he's like, oh.
Oh, shit.
He's
couldn't fathom
he
it.
like was like rethinking his entire life just because I didn't like soup.
God damn, that's just tragic. So my next one. So you know Applebee's?
Yep.
That ties in. And you know Skechers?
Yeah.
That ties in too, but this guy cannot concept how to even say or fathom these words. It's a very, very brief thing. Working shoes. Again, and I don't mind.
Seems like all
shoes.
the crazies come to shoes.
Oh, dude, I see them all over the place. But there's some winners that come up to shoes. So, essentially, this guy comes in. He's looking for a nice, fresh pair of Skechers, but he has the wrong damn shoe in mind. So it already starts off on the wrong foot. He brings in the paper and he points to the wrong shoe, but then describes a Skecher that we have on the back wall just sitting on there. And I'm like, okay, so you want a Skecher? And he's like, yeah, I love me some stretchers. And in my mind, I'm just like, oh God, here we go.
I love me some stretchers.
And the person I was working with, she was like just beside herself. She's like, did he just say stretchers? I'm like, I think he did. And then him and his wife start talking, because then eventually we got into it that he wanted a Skechers shoe. And he just starts talking about stretchers, and I'm just totally like, wow, this is hilarious. I don't want to laugh in this guy's face. And, yeah, him and his wife start talking about where they like to eat, and all of a sudden they go, yeah, and then there's Applebee, and then they're like, boy, I love Applebee.
I love Applebee.
And like the person I'm working with was just beside herself. She's like, I can't do this. I have to walk in the back. It was just rough. So then in the meantime, she's drawing this fucking cat that has its arms up in the air and has big eyes, and it's going, stretchers. And I didn't see this until...
It's like, by God, I can't wait to wear my stretchers to Applebee. It's gonna be a good one.
That's exactly what he fucking says. He's like, man, I can't wait to rock my stretchers to Applebee. It's gonna be a good time there at Applebee. It's like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is too fucking funny. I can't take this seriously. Like, this has to end soon. And so she has this drawn in the back, and then I saw it when I was coming back out, and I nearly just pissed my pants laughing. But it doesn't end there, because after this, a guy initially came, and we were laughing hard about this in the back, just figuring this out. She made her drawing, and then she literally, I'm helping somebody else at the register, and then all of a sudden she puts the word stretchers on a little tiny notepad and just sticks it on the register thing facing me, and I'm like, it was just like we were just roasting each other. And yeah, that is my third story, I believe. That is the stretcher Applebee guy, and good God, it's man, people.
Stretcher Applebee guy.
It blows my mind how people can't concept how to say words, no matter how simple or how hard it may be. Like stretcher.
Yeah, I can see like actual
weird.
like difficult words, but you would think name brands would be pretty easy to get.
Pretty easy. That's like someone going Chipotle Bell instead of Taco Bell. I'd be like, what is wrong with you? Right? Yeah, so it was a very, very interesting scenario.
All right, so number 3 for me is Hot Dog Bun Lady.
Oh,
this was
great. I could already see it.
What was it? I don't think it was this past Halloween. I think it was actually, yeah, I guess it would have been. So this past Halloween, this lady comes in, and the dairy section the next aisle over is the bread. So this lady, like I wouldn't say the next aisle over. It's in the same aisle. So she comes in with like she rolls into the aisle with like 3 empty carts, and I'm like, what the hell is this lady doing?
So you just know shit's about to get real.
And so she gets to the hot dog ones, and she takes every single one off the shelf and is just piling it into these empty carts.
Good.
Stacking them up, has like a spreadsheet of how many she needs to buy. She's like using the calculator on her phone to figure out how much she has or how much she needs. And she takes every single hot dog bun off the shelf. And keep in mind, this was like first thing in the morning. So they had just finished like restocking all the bread. And she took every single hot dog bun right off the shelf. And she comes up to me, she's like, "Excuse me, do you have any more hot dog buns?" And I'm thinking to myself,
fucking God.
I'm like, I don't think you need any more. Like, I don't think you need any more.
It's like, bitch, I'm capping you right here, right now. That's too many hot dog buns.
And well, this was my fault. I didn't ask her how many she needed. So I'm like, let me go check in the back. Because she just said more. So I figured I might as well just grab whatever we have. Because I knew we didn't have many left. So.
Can't believe it.
She only wanted our brand hot dog buns. And they only come in packs of 16 and packs of 8. So all we had left was a couple of packs of 16. And so I brought all them out. It was like maybe 8 packs of 16 buns. And she's like, "Oh, thank you so much." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need more than that." And I'm like, well, how many more? And she's like, she's looking at her thing. She's like, "I need like 15 more packs of 16. And I'm like, "Well, we don't have any more packs of 16. We only have the packs of 8. And then she's like, "Okay. Then I'm gonna need,
oh, God, it's one of those customers.
She pulls out her calculator on her phone and is trying to figure out the math. And I was like, "You need 30 more?" And she goes, "Yeah, I need 30 more." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll go see if we have 30 more."
It was one of those customers.
And so I think we only had like maybe 10. And I'm like, "Yeah, this is all we have." And she goes, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to go to Walmart now." And I was like,
God forbid, you gotta go to Walmart.
I was like, I mean, granted, like, I can't really judge that she bought that many hot dog buns because I think it was something for.
Was she doing like what was? Did she explain she was doing like a festival?
It was Halloween, and I think it was one of the local firehouses was doing, like they were giving out hot dogs to whoever kids came by trick or treating or whatever.
That sounds cool. I never got a hot dog trick or treating. Wow.
So I mean, it's not like it was just like she was just randomly buying like 400 hot dog buns. So there was a reason for it, which I thought was cool. But
at least she had a reason, because wow, I deal with people that don't have reasons.
Still, it was just horrible. Like, she's like, "You sure you don't have any more?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." And she's like, "All right." And I was like, "Oh, just to be courteous, I was like, oh, just for future reference, like if you ever need like a certain amount of hot dog buns, you can call like a couple days ahead of time and like order them, and we'll set aside like an order specifically for you." And she said something like, "Yeah, well, I almost have what I need here." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm just saying, just so that you can get them all here.
Get it one and done.
So so next time you won't have to go to Walmart or whatever." She's like,
"Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'll do that." I'm like, "Okay, all right. Well, I tried."
Wow. God, that was astounding. Wow. See, I've had people that like they want the whole world, and when you don't have any more, they just kind of look at you like you're gonna pop them out of your ass somewhere, and you're like,
"Yeah, that happens all the time."
And then I'm just like, "I don't have any more," and then they're just like,
"What?"
They're just like, "Are you sure?" Yeah.
Yeah, that's my least favorite question.
Do you have any more?
When you go look in the back for something and you come out and you're like, "No, I don't have it." "Are you sure?" It's like, "No, I just stared at a wall for 5 minutes."
It's like, "Well, you see, ma'am, I went in the back and I played some Pac-Man. I came out and turns out we don't have it." So this kind of falls into my thing. It's a topic of signs. I feel like this probably happens where you're at.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, it's just really stupid people in general, and they can't read signs. And in the places we're at, the signs are made pretty obvious for many reasons. And for some reason, there's always those cheapskates or those people that it could be like literally Krispy Kreme for $3.99, and above it will be, I don't know, like a deluxe version of chocolate, and they'll want like the $45 bundle for $3.99. It's like no, because this isn't Krispy Kreme. This is Russell Stover. This is chocolate that is just a little dessert treat for, coffee, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And like it happens with the dumbest things. Like the other week,
yeah,
get ready for it, man. There was a cutlery set, and then there was like doggy pooper scoopers. The doggy pooper scoopers are 99 cents. So of course they see these cutlery sets that are like $5 and they think they're like a 99 cents. Or a cutting board that's like $10 and they think it's $2. And it's like, no, this sign is for that and that sign is that. And then they always claim, well, what do you mean? It's like, well, you could see with your own two damn eyes, they're two different products. Like, don't fuck me here. Like, it just gets really annoying because
it's
they
not
know
even
they're
that like
wrong.
That's the worst part is they know they're wrong and they think that they can get like
whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, because they think if they fight hard enough for it, that the manager will just be like, well, you guys had it in the wrong place. It's not our fault. Give them whatever the price was or whatever.
And the funny part
even though it's not in the wrong place.
Yeah, we have it in the right place, and it's just like, what the fuck? And oh my god, it's just it gets to the point where you know they don't read the sign, or there's no reason why they can't read the sign, and they're just looking, and it's like clearly it'll say a certain thing, and they'll look at this sign, and they'll look over and pull this other thing off the rack and go, how much is this? It's like, are you serious? There is a sign right there. Like, I'll tell you, but it's like, it's kind of weird. It gets a little bit annoying because people are just stupid anymore.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel really bad with how stupid they are. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, the worst thing at my place of employment is our truck of dairy product comes in the morning, so that's when I'm there. So our guy that works second shift, when he comes in, usually like 99% of the time, the only thing that's left for him to do is work backstock, which is stuff that basically doesn't fit on the shelf that we just bring back to the back room. So that's his job, and it's the most annoying thing ever. And I understand he's doing it to try to make room in the back room for stuff, but he's one of those people that will...
Is this the guy that does nothing?
No.
Oh, okay.
This guy, he'll, so, let's say there's only room on a shelf for, 3 of something, and we have a box in backstock with, 8. He'll, shove other stuff around to fit those other, 5 that won't fit on the shelf. So he'll make something that's not supposed to be 2 things wide. He'll make them too wide, and then these things will be over the wrong price tags and everything.
Oh god.
And so it screws everything up. And I understand he's just trying to get stuff out to make room in the back room, but it screws almost everything up.
Yeah, it's just the very easiest thing, I should say. The easiest thing always comes pretty hard with how it looks on a shelf, and it's like,
yeah,
it's like, wow. And I think one of the classic things with people trying to con their way in, they'll pick something from across the store, and I know what all the stuff is.
Yeah.
I know where it came from, and you could scan it, tells you where it came from, and they try lying and say it came from another section, it's this price. It's like, well, you do know I have to call the department. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it's not my item, so I'm not gonna fucking change this.
It's
shit.
like they pick up something from the toy department and put it down and
then they'll put
on
it
a
down.
sign that says 99 cents.
Yeah, and then someone goes, oh, 99 cents. It's like, no.
It's like, yeah, I found this in the found this by the towels.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you can't just bring this in here and say it's $3.99 when it's ringing at $20 and expect to go, oh yeah, let me change that for you. It's like I'll fully trust you on that one. You're just someone that's in the store. Who knows? Could be anybody that does it. And my favorite is sometimes you get people that start doing auctioneer stuff. They'll be like, oh, Well, what if I give you like?
Oh yeah, they're trying to negotiate.
Yeah,
They'll
be
like,
more...
all right, well, let's just call it even at 15
Yeah.
instead of 20. It's like, no, it's $20.
Yeah, it'll be like $4.99. They'll be like, how about $2.50? I'm like, no, you give me
like,
$4.99 or you don't walk out with this item.
This isn't like
this isn't the auction house.
Like...
This ain't the hometown auction. You know, this ain't a festival. This is a retail store, and I want $4.99 for this, and I'm not
Plus
taking
tax.
anything less unless there's a good reason for it. Yeah. Oh, sad but true.
Yeah. So my next one is orange juice coupon guy. So
orange juice coupon guy. This sounds just fantastic.
So this is the first one on my list. Well, I guess technically not. But this guy got really mad about his coupon for orange juice. So what happened was, I'm just minding my business in the dairy department, and this guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, he's really calm at first. He's like, "Hey, I got a question for you about this coupon." I'm like, "All right, sure, I'll try to help you." And he shows me the coupon, and it's for something. I think it's like Minute Maid orange juice. Like, it has to be, it's like $2 off or $1 off or something like that. But it has to be over like a certain size. I think it's like over 59 ounces, and it can't be in a carton for whatever reason. Like, it's excluding cartons, and we only carry Minute Maid orange juice in a carton.
Oh God!
But the thing is our coupons are made for like 4 or 5 different stores.
So is it only valid in a certain store? It says on the coupon.
It's not that it's only valid in a certain store, but it's that you can only so it's for multiple different stores. So they'll show an item, or it'll be for an item, and they'll say something like it'll be for our store and then like the surrounding stores. So like, I don't know, whatever. But the thing is that not every store carries the exact same items, because if we have an item and it doesn't sell, then we're told to discontinue it and get rid of it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, we do that in my store too. Yeah.
So I'm assuming one of the other stores around have it, and we didn't. But the coupon, since they're for like 4 or 5 different stores around here, had the coupon, and I'm sure one of the other stores around has it, but we don't. And so this guy's freaking out. He's like, well, why are you advertising this coupon when you don't even have the item in your store? And I'm like, I tried to calmly explain to him, I'm like, the coupons are for, a couple different stores.
It's varies.
And I was like, it just so happens that we used to have that item at some point, and now we don't because it wasn't selling, so we discontinued it. So now we don't have the item. I was like, you could, ask for us to look it up and special order it, and then you can use the coupon for it. But, we just don't have it on hand.
Can you imagine
and
the
he
aneurysm
starts freaking out. He's
like... Yep, sounds about right. Yep.
But he's just basically saying the same thing over and over again. He's like, I can't believe that you would advertise this coupon for this store, and you don't have this item.
Yeah, I love those people, because it's like, listen, you already know your answer. Just shut up and go find another store.
And
we don't have it.
He's tweaking out.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't believe this. He's
I've been lied to. My life is a lie.
He's like, so if I get a different orange juice, can I still get the $2 off? I'm like, probably not. And he's like, well, why not? And I'm like, because it's for this specific item that we don't have. And he's like, but I can't get that item here. And I'm like, okay. I don't know what you want me to do.
I'd highly suggest people work a retail job for at least one season, just to see how dumb and how ridiculous people could be. Because you learn self-control.
Yeah,
and you also learn how stupid people could be, especially even in food. And
I've worked in both retail and food now, and it's just horrible.
It's horrible, and people are just dumb as a rock. I swear, Patrick Star makes them look like they're just wow.
Patrick Star looks
like a genius compared to them. Exactly. It's oh my God.
But so this guy's tweaking out. He's like, I need to speak to your manager right now. And I'm like, okay, I'll go get him. And so then I went in the back, got my manager. I'm like, hey, this dude's tweaking out about orange juice coupons. And he's like taken aback by this. He's like, orange juice coupons? I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
I was like, something about $2 off Minute Maid, excluding cartons, and all we carry Minute Maid in is cartons. He's like, yeah. So what's the problem? I was like,
I wouldn't even call it Minute Maid. Yeah, the actual orange juice. That's the funny part. But yeah,
I was like, he's like, so what's the problem? I'm like, well, he said he wanted to talk to you because apparently I didn't explain to him well enough that the coupons are for multiple different stores and that we just don't carry that specific item. And he's like, all right, well, I'm coming. And then I walk with my manager back to the orange juice.
It's like they think
and this guy's gone. So this guy leaves. Yep. And then my manager's like,
where the fuck did he go?
My manager's like, okay. And so then we have an app where you can have all the coupons on, and he was looking for this coupon. And he couldn't find it on the app. So I'm assuming this guy probably had an expired coupon anyways.
Yeah, it's just, people try literally anything, and you see it in retail all the time. It's insane.
But I'm like, why would you tweak out so hard and yell at me to go get my manager and then walk away?
Yeah, people just do the dumbest things. If it all made sense, it would be scary. That's what I always say.
You're not wrong.
Retail.
You're not wrong.
So I feel like maybe we might need a part 2 for some of these. So I'll probably just say one more since I got 10. And then maybe next time you could put more, or you could put Beltway stories in if you want.
I mean, we're only at 36 minutes. Episode 1 went for an hour, so we definitely still have some time.
We definitely have some time? Oh, cool. Well, in that case, all right, we're going to go into the first of 3 Stalker stories.
Oh, God.
All right, so I'm not going to say who this is. I have a footnote in my notepad, but people who work at my store definitely know who this is. So, this woman, this elderly lady, oh my God, she's on so many drugs.
She's on so many drugs.
She's on so many drugs, and like she clearly needs help and has like a lot of mental problems. So she actually lives 2 blocks from me, and she'll never know this because if she does, I might have to like get a gun and get a restraining order because it's pretty bad. So she always comes in the store, and I don't know how in God's name she still has her driver's license. There's so many questions and not enough answers. Not enough answers. So, she has a few crushes in the store, and then to one person, she'll talk about the crush to about another person. So it's like, oh man, Tom has some amazing packs. And they're just like, and immediately everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing? So, I was one of her loves, probably still am for all I know. Oh, God. And essentially, I've been seeing this person for years, and I can remember the first time I saw her. And man, it went over so well. I thought that was the last time I would see her. And man, it was the first of many. So she comes in the store, and she literally tries to find you and these people. And then she literally just wants to talk. That's it. Just wants to talk. And she's like clearly on drugs and whatever else she's on must be some good stuff. There's been times where she was like literally a BOGO. She was like at the counter like this, and then she just started like slowly like falling asleep. And she just fell asleep right on the countertop, and I'm like, what the fuck? And this happened in shoes as well.
Maybe she wanted some stretchers.
She gets stretchers too, which is funny. The manager's like, it's like, Mary, get up. And like, it was just funny because there was me and there was this other kid that I won't name, but we were working there during this BOGO, and there's all the same BOGOs. She tried grabbing his crotch.
Jesus Christ.
So man, she definitely gets around. She should be fucking banned, but she's not, because we just don't do that. And
why?
I don't even know. We try to be very friendly no matter what happens. But some of these people that come in the store, they are a problem. Like,
sounds like it.
Yeah, they are a problem. So, she usually tries to just do the go around and make everybody's life a living hell. And oh my God. She literally fell asleep the one time laying against a shelf that almost fell backwards in domino effect. And I'm like, I can't be doing this, can't be doing that. And I saw her in the restaurant, and she was just falling asleep at the countertop, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? So the one time, there's someone in the back that was scheduling at the time, and this girl literally takes her cart, and she rolls the cart back to the management offices.
What the fuck?
And like sometimes she'll just come in, she'll be like, oh hey, so I was talking to Ruthie, And that's not even the person's real name either. But she's like, "Oh, I was talking to Ruthie. I was looking to see her." And Ruthie would be the manager on that night. And then I call her and I'd be like, "So Ruthie, your best friend's here." And she's like, "Don't even fucking tell me it's her." And I'm like, "Yeah, she's here." And she's like, all I hear is, "God damn it."
I think
It's just like, wow. She's like, "I'll be right in."
I think the closest, I mean, this is kind of unrelated to the story, but I think the closest I've ever been to the manager's office in that place was, I think, one time. I don't remember when, but you and I were hanging out for something, doing something, and you had to run in the to talk to, I want to say HR, and I was like sitting on the seat, like near the manager's office, and I was, I felt so awkward because all these workers were looking at me like, who the fuck is this guy? What the fuck is he doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I'm just waiting for JP.
And they're like, "Oh, okay." Everybody just knows. So, yeah, literally, she was just raising hell and all this shit. And then I found out, since she's up the street from me, that she went literally to her next door neighbor's house naked. No, it gets better. She was in a psych ward and everything. And then she showed me her phone the one day and she wanted me to turn off location devices and emergency services. And I'm like, "Why do you want me to do this?" And she's like, "'Cause they're coming through the phone to get me." And I'm like,
They're coming for me.
and I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. The people in white are coming to get you. They're gonna put you in that hospital." So, yeah, they're gonna commit her, right? So I found out she was in a psych ward for like 3 months.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not surprised after what happened. She goes next door. She's butt ass naked. Walks outside. Excuse me. Walks outside. Goes next door. Literally asserts her authority into someone's house. Runs upstairs to the bathroom. Locks herself in there. And then she has the audacity to tell them that she belongs there.
God damn, dude.
Yeah, she's a fucking nut job, and as you can imagine, they came and they put her in the hospital, and goddamn, she didn't get out for 3 months. And
Well, it looks like turning off the location services didn't help her.
Man, yo, she's just a whack job, dude. It's sad. Like, I feel for her, but she's so fucked up that I literally, she should not even be alone ever. Oh, the funny part was, so her brother died in her living room, in her chair.
Jesus Christ.
And she went on for a week knowing he was dead.
Oh no.
And then she like literally came to Boscov's and she's like, "Man, my brother hasn't said anything to me for days, you know, I'm starting to get worried he might not like me." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "I think he might be dead." I'm like, and this is all happening. This is all happening in my normal department. I'm like, wow, this is too much for me to fucking handle right now. Holy fuck. So I'm like, well, maybe you should do the right thing and you should call 911. She's like, "Are you sure? They might be coming to get me." I'm like, you gotta call 911. You gotta do it. And yeah, he was sitting in the chair. He died from a stroke, and she kept him there for a week. And I don't know if it was just her insanity. But she was like Norman Bates, man. She thought he was alive. I was like, what the fuck?
Damn, dude.
And that is one
That's
stalker.
insane.
That is one stalker. Yep.
Well,
that was a lot to take in, wasn't it?
Yeah. On a more lighthearted note, I'm actually gonna insert a story from my previous job, which was at a local diner. So there's many stories from there, but the one I'm going to go with is a little bit more lighthearted after what we just heard from JP.
Well, I gotta admit, I think from looking at these stories, I think that is probably, well, that might be the most fucked up story I have. But it gets a little better, though. Oh, yeah.
So this next one, like I said, is a little bit more lighthearted. Also odd in a way, but still kind of lighthearted, I guess.
After that last story, I think it seems pretty. I think it's gonna turn out pretty good.
So it was. Oh God! It was. I want to say it was Memorial Day, and usually we're pretty busy on days like that. You know, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, stuff like that. Labor Day. Things of that nature. So I'm working, you know, bussing the tables, whatever.
Grinding.
this party of, I think it was like 9 or 10 comes in. And the first thing they ask is, I shit you not, they're like, can we bring our pet bird in here?
Yeah, literally at this point.
And my manager just like looked at them with like the most dumbfounded face and was like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, it's in a cage right here. And they're holding it up in a cage.
It's probably just like, oh, fuck.
And my manager's like, no. And they're like, so we're not allowed to bring the bird in. And my manager's like, no.
Isn't that unsanitary?
There's multiple different reasons.
See, like, the funny part is, like, for us, like, people bring anything in anymore because you can't legally ask if they're a freaking state dog or anything, but you know they're not, but you can't ask, so they get away with it. It's just like, what the fuck?
My emotional support bird. But
yeah, exactly, yes.
But, so they were like, trying to deliberate between the 10 of them what they were going to do.
Fucking God, what?
And so their decision was they had 8 of the 10 people go and sit, and then the other 2 sat outside with the bird.
So you're telling...
And then when the first 2 people that were done eating went out, watched the bird so the other 2 people could come in and eat. And I was like, why?
Apparently this bird must have been like the prophecy holder or something, man. You can't let,
let
that bird free.
What?
Free
like,
bird.
It just doesn't, like,
Wow.
I couldn't think why anyone would think they could just bring a bird into a restaurant, like, caged or not. And so they were like super pissed off about it, like so offended that we wouldn't let this bird in here.
The fuck?
And I'm like, what did you expect?
Yeah, like what in God's name would you expect if?
And so they like
it's a restaurant. What the fuck? Wow, Jesus.
So they complained to a different manager about it, and the manager was like, yeah, like, you know, no, like, animals aren't allowed in here. And they were, like, so appalled, but they still sat and ate. I don't know if they left a good tip or not, but they still sat and ate. And like I said, the 2 of them swapped off with the other 2 that were watching the bird. And it was just the dumbest thing, but it... I make horrible puns, and I think it's so fucking funny. So I was just making horrible puns all night. So I was like,
gotta have them puns.
As soon as they seated them, I was like, guys, don't worry about it. They're here for the early bird special.
Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious.
My managers were laughing their asses off.
The early bird special. The bird's out of the cage now, boys.
And then I think I said something like, I was like, I wonder if any of them are gonna get, or I was like, I said something, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, I was like, do you think the bird will be offended if one of them gets a turkey club? Or something like that. Like, I was just saying, like, the stupidest shit.
Yeah, those puns, holy shit. Oh my fucking God. That's just, wow.
But, yeah, so these people tried to bring a bird into a restaurant.
So I'm gonna go now with 2 shorter stories, and then the last 3 will all be self-explanation stories, and they just get better with each one. So we're gonna call this guy the Flasher.
Oh,
so,
Jesus God.
So, you know, this one dude just, you know, people just come in all the time. They're fucking weird. They're normal. They're everything in between. I'm far from normal. I could totally understand. So, but this one guy, you know, there's just these people you see and you're like, this person's going to be a problem. I can already tell.
Yep.
It's like babysitting. It's like, this person's going to be a problem. So, this guy just walks in and, you know, just casual conversation. He has a trench coat on and it's buttoned up. It's buttoned up and everything. Everything was nice and kind of casual. Just a little weird. He was asking, like, where Amir was and stuff like that. And this is at the time where we had a suits section where you stood on a block and you could see every fucking, like, angle of it.
Oh, like a 360 degree mirror.
360. So I'm like, oh, well, there's one over there in
God.
suits. And he's like, oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I really need this. I'm like...
I really need this.
He's like, I really need this. And I'm like,
Jesus
I'm like,
God.
okay, man, that's cool. And he walked away.
That's
and I'm
cool.
like, he walked away. I'm just looking at this guy because I'm like, something's about to happen, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I'm here to have a good laugh.
About to happen.
He was dead that day, so I'm like, hey, if it's a good laugh, I'm down. So... This guy walks over. I'm just kind of on the edge of the department just so I could see, like, what the hell's about to happen. This guy literally jumps on the block and opens the trench coat, and he's butt-ass naked. And as soon as this happened, I'm just, like, sitting there like, oh, fuck. So, I'm like, wow, this is a fucking problem. So, this guy just does that, and he just starts, like, literally just swinging his dick and shit, and I'm like, wow, this is out of this world. I wasn't looking when this happened, but I saw him from the one angle with his hand fluttering and shit. I'm like, oh my God.
What's he fucking doing the helicopter?
he's just fucking meat spinning this shit right in the department, and I'm like, wow. And I'm sure security knew about this immediately from looking at the cameras, unless they were like out of their minds that day. And then he quickly does this, and he fucking runs right out of the store. He runs right into the mall, and I'm like, all right.
Fuck.
I'm like, well, that was something interesting. So this falls into the fitting room shitter.
Oh Jesus God.
So self-explanatory, you know. People do weird ass shit in the fucking fitting rooms anyway nowadays.
Apparently, literally.
People like have sex in fitting rooms nowadays. They do some weird shit, drugs, you name it. So on this day, I'm guessing they didn't just. I guess they weren't satisfied with their fitting or something, and they threw the stuff on the ground. They took a shit on the stuff. They took a cold-hearted shit right on the clothes, and I didn't see it.
I don't care like how much you fucking like hate a store or something. Like first of all,
people pissed on merchandise too. It's just
now you gotta fucking walk out of the store without fucking wiping your ass unless you wiped it with the clothes.
Like literally, they were just going to fucking town, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I didn't actually see the work that they did in that fitting room, but from what I've heard and what happened, I can tell you, the cleaning services did not have a fun time cleaning that mess up.
I mean, do people ever have a good time cleaning like human feces?
Whatever gets you paid, right? Yep, so those are those two quick fucked up stories, and now we have a triple header for you. So we got two stalker stories and one hell of a shoplifter. So, what should I say first? A stalker story, I guess?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, so these are equally as fucked. So, I saw this guy. I was working one of the midnight shifts. It was like the holidays, and it was in 2019. This was like 4 fucking years ago, and I still see this fucking guy. And the guy still fucking tries, and it's like, what the fuck, dude? 5 years now? Come on. So, there was a guy just wandering. It was dead. I'm like, oh, it's going to be an easy night. Okay, cool. So then this guy comes, and it's like, all right, well, there's a customer. That's cool. So, I'm just helping him out and everything, and it's great. It's going. And then there comes a point of the conversation where it's like the conversation overstayed its welcome. So you're like, what the fuck's going to happen now? So he just starts asking about, like, what I do, how old am I, in school, all this stuff. And then he just starts suggesting, like, I'm gonna get, like, he needs my phone number. And I'm like, I am not giving you my phone number. I don't know who you are. And he's like, but you could trust me.
You could trust me.
This is like the classic thing, whether it's a normal customer or someone trying to get away with something. But you could trust me. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if I could trust you, you wouldn't have to fucking say anything. Yeah, it was so fucking weird. And then this guy's like trying to beat around the bush, and then he's like, oh, what's your phone number? I'm like, I'm not giving you my phone number. And then he starts suggesting, he's like, oh, well, hey, you know, maybe like, and this guy is literally like in his 50s. So it was immediately fucked from the start. And then he starts suggesting, he's like, oh, well, you know, maybe, okay, so this is during the dead of winter, so we just had a storm and we had snow and all this stuff. So he's like, oh, well, hey, why don't we go sledding?
Why don't we go sledding together?
And I was so close to picking up the phone and dialing security, but I knew that, he was running out of ideas. So I'm like, I could easily psychology, just throw it in there and I could just literally trip him out.
It's like, how about you go sledding? And I don't.
And then he's like, yeah, we could go sledding at the roadway inn. There's ice there and everything. I'm like, well, as much fun as that sounds, I got stuff to do like after. And, I have a normal life outside of here. I can't just go sledding in my work clothes. He's like, oh, well, you can go home, get changed and meet me, or I can go with you. I'm like, no, that ain't happening.
that's quite all right.
I'm like, oh, that's quite all right, man. I don't even.
You should have been like, I'm allergic to snow anyway. Don't even worry about it.
I'm like, that's okay, man. I don't even know who the fuck you are. So, alrighty, and literally, like, this guy, like, kept trying, and he stayed in literally, this night shift, there was nobody in the store besides this fucking guy. And I was like, wow. And, like, everybody was starting to, like, kind of, like, eavesdrop on it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I'm not feeling any sledding, man, but I appreciate the offer. And, maybe when I get to know you better, maybe I can give you my phone number. Maybe.
But probably not.
But not right now. So then, he just goes, totally fine. But then he comes back a few months later. He comes back. He sees me working, and then he tries it again, and then it turns into, yo, we should go down because he started doing like picking at that Scranton, that giant warehouse where you can buy out things and tiles and crap. So he knows I'm an artist, so of course he starts talking to me about this, and I don't even give a flying fuck about what this guy's talking about. And
he's like, hey, you want to paint together?
Yeah. And like he's like, yo, we should make some art together, we should paint together, yo, we should go pick some tiles. I'm like, no, let's not do that. No, let's not. So eventually, like, the next few times I see him, it repeats itself, and then he goes away. He goes to New York and whatever. But then he knows I'm in New York.
Oh, God.
So he asks me about New York next time he sees me. And maybe I can be down there sometime. I'm like, well, I have a show probably in April, maybe. And he's like, oh, that won't be when I'm down there. Yeah. So this guy keeps trying. And this guy is, like, totally perverted. It's just like, what the fuck? And he never gives up. And, like, he still sees me to this day. And every time he asks me for my fucking phone number, it's like, I'm not giving you my fucking phone number, man. It's been 5 years.
It's been 5 years.
It's like, could you get the hint? So, that's the one guy. I just call him the New York guy.
The New York guy.
And then there's an old man who's like 75. And he's pretty loaded with booze, money, whatever the fuck he wants. Drives a fucking Ferrari. Drives all this shit, whatever he wants, right? So this guy randomly starts fucking talking to me one day, and somehow it gets into the point where he wants me to do a painting. So I'm like, okay, I'm here to hear the idea. All right, cool. Hit me up with it, right?
Oh, God.
So he's like, all right, well, I'll give you a call. And he gives me a call. He tells me about this idea. And it makes sense. He wants to do the United States Marine Corps logo and all. I'm like, okay, I could do that. I get some references and shit.
I thought this was going a completely different direction.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, paint me like one of your French girls. Like the fucking scene from Titanic.
I was really hoping that wouldn't have been the case. I'm like, oh, fuck.
That's why I was like, oh, God, oh, God.
This guy seemed perfectly normal at first. So then he comes, and he's like, all right, well, I'll meet you after work this day. I'm like, okay, I'll meet you out front. So he pulls up in this expensive fucking car, and he's like, get in. I'm like, I'm not getting in your car. I'm like, I don't know you. I'm not getting in your car. Like, what the fuck? Like, I swear people must be, like, completely stupid anymore to get in a car with someone random. Oh, yeah, let's talk about a painting and go for a drive. The fuck? What? Yeah. So, eventually he gets a little upset by that. But I'm like, listen, I don't know you, and yeah, this is not right. I'm not getting in your car. It's expensive. I do not even want to take the chance on damaging anything. So he parks it, and he comes and he shows me his stuff. And he wants something done completely different than what he originally suggested. So I knew this was just a ploy to somehow spend time with me. I knew it was a ploy. It was a waste of my fucking time.
Yeah.
So we eventually, just talking. It didn't work out. But then he starts talking to me about State College because he knew I graduated from there. And then he's like, oh, yeah, we should take a trip up to State College sometime. And I'm like, no, we're not fucking doing that, no. And, like, every time he sees me, he always brings up, like, oh, we should go for a trip together go see State College. It'll be a fun time. You can come to my house and order pizza. And I'm like, you are out of your fucking mind. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what? You're retired and from the Marine Corps and you're a fucking pedophile? Like, what? So, this guy is like, and he was like telling me about these stories of children, and I'm like, this is...
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah,
dude.
I'm like, no offense, but this is really disturbing. I don't want to talk about this. And he's like, oh, I totally understand. He's like, I just, I have a lot of grandkids, and, I like the kids. I really do. I'm like, oh, I know you like the kids. I know you
it's
fucking...
totally like the fucking episode of The Office we were just watching before we recorded this episode.
Yeah, I made a new dating profile. What's your name? Little Kid Lover.
Little Kid Lover.
This would be that fucking guy. And he's trying to tell me, and the more he tells me, the more I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to hear about that, nope. So... that's the other stalker, and like literally he's like, I saw you in the paper and you're doing cool things, and I'm just like, God damn it, like I hate being, there's times where I hate kind of being a little more known because you can't fly under the radar in certain scenarios like that, so I know he's gonna pop up one of my shows, and that's gonna be just, oh man. I'll probably just get him kicked out immediately. So, do you have any other stories?
I have one last one, and then I think
I got one last one then.
All right, yeah, we'll be good. We're at an hour right now, so
we'll be Gucci. All right, cool. Oh, we have a grand finale planned for you. Oh, it's gonna be
my last
fantastic.
One is I kind of had my best one first. The farmer's tea guy is definitely my best story, I think.
Where the fuck's the farmers?
But so my last one isn't necessarily a story about one particular customer. But it's just a general story about the time that the entire dairy department ran out of milk. So...
that sounds like an absolute fucking problem.
So, I don't know how... the place where we get our milk from is very... what's the word? Inconsistent is the word that I'm looking for.
Incompetent.
That's another word that I could use, definitely. And so, there was one time where we ordered milk. We get... milk orders every, I don't know, whatever, a couple days a week. So there was one day where we ordered our milk, a lot of it, because I think it was the beginning of the month too, so, WIC checks, food stamps, all that stuff. Okay. And they just didn't deliver us any milk at all. No milk showed up that day, none.
Fantastic.
So we're already out of mostly everything, and now we didn't get a milk order, and we're not getting one in for another like 2 or 3 days.
Wow,
so we just are screwed. And so the day before we finally got our next milk order in, there was literally like no milk on any shelves whatsoever, other than...
my God, that's... wow.
We get some milk that's on our regular like trucks, so that isn't part of like your milk order. So like that stuff like almond milk, so like almond breeze, silk, stuff like that.
Soy,
and like
all that good stuff.
Yeah, and like Lactaid, and that's pretty much it. So other than the Lactaid and like the almond milks, everything is completely gone. And people are tweaking the hell out. And I'm just like, I don't know, like people are like, oh, are you going to fill the milk anytime soon? And I'm like, we don't have any milk. And they're like, oh, well, why not? And I'm like, whatever.
Of course.
The people that deliver the milk to us, just decided not to deliver milk to us for some reason.
They decided to screw us good.
And so we just don't have any milk. And they're like, oh, how am I going to get my milk now? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, you see, sir, if you go into the toilet and you
it's like, I don't know.
Purifying
like,
milk.
I guess you'll have to go. I was like, I guess if you don't want Lactaid or almond milk, you'll have to go to Wise or Walmart or whatever. And they're like, okay. And so, whatever. And so then people are like trying to crack jokes, and I'm just like, I was like, I get what you're trying to do, but I'm just not in the mood for it. Like this one guy's like, oh, what happened to all the cows? And I'm like,
of course. There's always those people.
Or the one dude was like, oh, I guess all the cows must have moved out. And I'm like, please stop. Yeah. Just please stop.
The corny jokes. It's just, please stop. Please. Wow, that's
and then
horrible.
People coming in with their WIC checks, tweaking out. They're like, well, what am I supposed to do? I need milk for my kid. And I'm like, this isn't the only place
that carries
that
fucking milk.
sells milk.
This isn't the last place on earth that carries milk.
And they're like, I don't know how WIC checks work. I guess you can... I don't know. I have no idea how they work. at least according to this lady, I don't know if it's correct or not, but apparently you have to get everything that you have to get in like the same order. So it's not like, because all the items you get are on one like check. So I guess if she goes and doesn't get milk here, like at our store, then she can't use that same thing that says like, oh, whatever of milk.
I mean,
and go
again,
get it somewhere else.
You can get milk at the convenience store or something. No, it's not the end of the world if you can't have milk, but people make it seem.
So I guess she's like, so I have to go put this all back and then go to a different store just so I can get all this stuff again and get the milk. I was like, I mean, I guess so. I was like, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, I guess. Does a bear shit in the woods?
And so people are tweaking out, and I'm just like, I don't know what you want me to do. It's like, it's not my fault. Like, I don't order the milk. I don't deal with any of that. I just put it on the shelf. And if we don't have any, then I can't do my job. You know what I mean? So people are tweaking out. They're like, oh, the cows, where are they? And then I'm just like, please stop. Please stop.
It's just like, God damn, please stop.
And then, oh my God, my manager said something so stupid. So dumb. I was like, just stop.
It's basically,
not even trying to joke around. He's just like, huh? There's no milk, huh? I'm like...
I like how the manager of the department doesn't know there's no milk.
Not necessarily the department manager. He's like he's the assistant store manager. He knew there was no milk, but he was just like, I don't know, trying to make small talk. So he was like, huh? He's like, oh, there's no milk, huh? I'm like, you have fucking eyes, don't you? Like, fucking, if you're trying to make small talk, fucking don't say something fucking stupidly obvious.
It's like, yeah, you got...
Like, come say fucking hi if you want to fucking talk.
It's like, yeah, there's no more milk, man, fuck.
I'm like, fucking thanks, I didn't notice.
Good God. That's so sad. I'm sorry about all that milk. Wow. So the grand finale here. So it involves a meth head shoplifter.
Oh, Jesus God.
This is actually, like, the craziest shit I've ever seen with my own two eyes. Like, it was fucking unbelievable. Like, I've seen people getting, like, fist fights and shit and everything. It was nuts, but...
I have a couple other stories from the Beltway, but I'll definitely save those for a different time.
There's more stories to come. So, it's the night shift. It's a pretty dead night. I'm in Gifts. And it's getting around closing time. And for closing, security has to, do their perimeter check and crap and all that, and then you can leave. So I was a late register that night, so you definitely have to wait. So it turns out that there was a shoplifter upstairs this night. God. But yeah, I'm getting ready for the story. Alright, so there's a shoplifter upstairs. The guy literally sculpted an entire fixture of jewelry. He was so high, he was just strung the fuck out. He was on something else. And he literally takes this fucking fixture and he guns it. Like, he guns down the escalator, right? So this is how I tie into the story.
I thought all your jewelry was locked in those cases.
No, they have spinners, fixtures, and stuff like that. So this guy took one right off and snapped the wire, just ran with it.
Oh. This guy, one of those old fucking rotisserie things?
Yeah, like the one.
What the fuck? What the fuck was he gonna do with it? But he got it out of the store.
Yeah, so he was attempting to like break glass other areas, so he just picks up this fixture and fucking runs.
What the fuck?
So, as you can imagine, he runs down the escalator, and like security is just gunning it from the office to get this guy, right? So they're running up towards Gifts, and you know where Gifts is at in our store, right? So run up towards Gifts, and this is like literally like. This is like 8:58 that this confrontation happens. And I just see this guy out of his mind. And he has a thing in his hand. Oop, I almost did it again. He has this thing in his hand. He goes straight up with this thing as he's running with the fixture. He runs out the door and he has his car on a timer. So he auto starts his car. And I'm just literally looking at this from the window at Gifts. I'm just literally looking at this unfolding, right? And they are like beating the dude. They are in like a full-on fucking brawl in the parking lot. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? And they're like wrestling this guy. And dude, this guy was like throwing them the fuck around. I'm like, holy shit.
For this guy being like methed out of his mind, at least he had a pretty solid plan.
Yeah,
like,
he had a remote start
plan for his car and everything.
He had a solid plan. So He's literally throws it in this car and gets in the car, and all I see is one guy jump on the roof of the car, one of the security guys, and the other one goes in through the door, and literally this guy fucking takes off.
Oh my god.
He literally takes off with these two people on security on this fucking car, and just drives across the fucking lot. One of them's getting dragged across the lot, the other one's just on top trying to reach in to get him. And literally, I thought he was going to crash into a light post or something. I'd be like, wow, they're all going to die right now. Holy fuck. So all I see is, like, the car eventually, eventually they all fly off the car because he stiffs it, and the one guy just flips off the car and smacks the concrete. I'm like, whoa.
This literally sounds like a scene from a Fast and Furious movie.
Like, literally, they're trying to get this guy, and eventually he makes the turn, and they all fly off. I thought one of them was going to get run over by the car. I was like, what the fuck is about to happen? And literally, it's like 9:02. Security is supposed to be doing the, like, oh, if you have any customers in around your area, dial 1294. Well, both the security guys were incapacitated in the parking lot. And I'm just staring at the fucking window, just like, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Because security is usually the people you call, and they're fucking dead in the parking lot.
Dead.
And then I'm just like, well, the shoplifter got away. At least there's not as much danger at the moment. And I see one of them get up and, like, dude, they're all covered in blood and everything. Dude, it literally looked like a fucking, like, horrific scene. And the one guy is just, like, screaming for the other dude. He's like, you okay, man? And he's just, like, literally picking this guy off the ground like trash. I was just like, wow. And literally, the one guy, like, I carried the fuck back in. One guy, like, almost lost his fucking thumb. Dude, they were fucking wrecked. And there were still people in the store that had to be escorted. So other people were just like, listen, you have to get out of the store. Something happened. You have to get out. And then people are like, oh, okay, I'll get out. So eventually, yeah, everything was all good, but they had the rehab for a little while, and they were stitching each other up in the office. I was like, what the fuck? So, yeah, that was the craziest shoplifting story
Dude,
I have ever witnessed. Yeah,
but
like
literally, like, if you didn't give me the context of, like, you being at work, like, if you just described that scene to me, I'd be like, oh, you're talking about something from the Fast and Furious, right?
Yeah, man. I wish this was a fucking movie.
It literally sounds like an action movie scene.
They got so fucked up, and, like, I think they eventually got this guy just because he was known. And yeah, that's what happened. I literally almost saw them die right in front of my eyes. And, yeah, that meth head had one hell of an idea. It was insane. And then those were my stories. Still have a lot more, so I'm sure we can have another episode.
Yeah, I have some more from my past job at the diner as well, so.
The best job of all time, right?
I mean, food and retail are they're not ideal jobs at all.
Should definitely work it to experience it, though. But yeah, it's definitely not a career path, I can tell you that.
Nope.
Oh, no. I guess we're all set for this,
Yep.
This episode. That was a little longer, but hey. Got a good amount of stories in. Hope you guys enjoyed the stories. There will be more. And if you guys have any topics you'd want to hear about, you can leave them in the comment section or just let us know any way you possibly could.
Yep, definitely let us know what kind of topics you guys want to see us talk about on this show. You can leave them in the comments on the YouTube video, or you can hit us up. Our social medias are in the description of the YouTube video and in the description of the podcast on whatever podcast service you're on. So if you want to hit us up on Twitter or whatever,
everybody
let us
check
know.
It out.
But yeah, this has been a bunch of our interesting work stories, I guess we'll say, or work horror stories.
Yep.
However you want to turn it.
If you want to bracket that in.
But with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 2 of the HPJP show. It is the podcast where JP and I shoot the shit, talk about random topics of conversation for your amusement, and it goes live every other Saturday at noon Eastern on youtube.com/HexxedPhenom and on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, any podcast service around the globe. And with that being said, until next time, guys, have a phenomenal day.